Hello, everyone, and welcome to this fourth day of Cloud Week's Azure Virtual Desktops. During the last 3 days, we have seen a lot and studied a lot regarding the building of this service or this technology. We have seen how to create our virtual desktop environment, including the virtual desktops that will include the servers that will hold or host the service of domain controllers. We also have seen how to create virtual desktops to connect to these servers. We have also seen a lot of host pools and the storages that will be holding or hosting the profiles of the users of the virtual desktops that are going to connect to these virtual host pools. And we had the idea of how to plan and implement a virtual environment or a total environment that will include everything related to these services. But what happens if we have a problem of failure? What will be the procedures or such a failure that is related to a disaster or to makes our solution or our service unavailable? That's when comes the time for a planning, for a well-tailored and well-organized plan for not having a long downtime or trying to reach what is called high availability, which means that I should always have the best plan to be highly available in case of any problem. That means that what should I do? What I should do is having a secondary location for my virtual desktops as well as for my virtual storages or my storage accounts that are holding the profiles of the users. That's why I should have that planned well and machines replicating location. That's when I'm going to talk about what is the disaster recovery for Azure Virtual Desktop, what is the virtual machine replication, and how to configure the FS logics in order to reach or to find the location of the storage accounts when, or the replicated storage account when a problem or any disaster might happen. So take into consideration the replication term and the disaster recovery term in order to have a full understanding of what I'm going to explain today. In addition to that, I should have an FS logics configuration plan that will configure my FSX logic container so that they can reach to the secondary or to the backup location of my storage accounts in case of any failure. So having a disaster recovery plan or a disaster recovery site for my service is a must. So I should plan well. If anything happens, how am I going to direct all my users automatically to this new site? As you can see here, we have what is called the downtime. The downtime is the time that my service will be not responding. And as an administrator, I should have a very well planned what is called business continuity and disaster recovery strategy. This strategy, a good strategy, keeps your applications and your workloads up and running during a planned or unplanned service or Azure outages, which means this plan or this strategy should always make the downtime to the minimum. That's a good planning, or the best planning you should work for, and allow the virtual machines or the virtual desktops your users connecting to, allow them to be available on another location. That's what I call a good planning for disaster recovery. That's what I use replication for. That's what when I replicate my virtual desktop. That's when I replicate my storage accounts, and that's when I plan for a full location or a full solution backup or replication, so that during these outages, when my first site goes down, the other side will be available. Let me show you something using Paint. I'll just draw something to explain that better. We have my environment, which is environment 1, that includes many virtual machines, and these virtual machines are connected, of course, to storage accounts that are holding the profiles of the users, and the external users are connecting to these machines. These users, different users, are connecting to the host pools, and they are working on that. They are logging in, getting their profiles from the FS logics, and working. Maybe for a reason, let's say a disaster, a natural disaster, hit this site. This is site 1 that is including this environment. Maybe for any reason, this site goes down. So your productivity will go down, and all the users will not be working anymore. This stopping, or this time, should be considered a non-productive time. So for you as an administrator, what you should do, simply, you should replicate all these, replicate them into site 2 or environment 2, into, let me write it, site 2, which is a site recovery, or a place that includes every and each of these environment components into the other location. So the replication is by replicating all the components that are here into there, each and every one of them. And whenever I replicate these, I should also edit or also update the FS logics configuration, so that when the user tries this site and not being able to reach the destination for a reason of a failure, directly he will be redirected, or they will be directed, or she will be redirected to the site 2, which is the recovery site, or the backup site, or the replica site, and will continue working on this replica site until the main site gets back into action. All this is being done using the technologies that is offered by Azure. I can do the replication for everything I must use during the failure time or the failure period. So for user who cannot connect during the Azure outage, you may need to replicate the personal virtual machines to another region, which is called the secondary region. During the outages, the primary region fails over to the replicated. This is what I explained in the drawing I did. Continue to access to their application from the secondary without any interruption until the first site comes back to the action, and every user will be redirected again to the primary location when after that outage or after that disaster is recovered or the resolution is being done. So disaster recovery for Azure Virtual Desktop. How do we do that? How do we do disaster recovery for Azure Virtual Desktop? Of course, all of you will know what I mean by or will expect my answer, which is a replication. It is called the VM replication because VM replication means that your environment or your virtual machines are replicated to the secondary location of your virtual desktop. Your options for doing so depends on very important or some important topics, how your VMs are configured or were configured. You can configure all your VMs. You can configure all of them for both pooled and personal hosts. Of course, you can configure them with site recovery. The site recovery option, we have seen that during the creation of the virtual host. Again, with this method, you'll only need to set up the one host pool and its related apps, groups, and workspaces. With this method, all you need to do is only need to set up one host pool and its related app groups and workspaces. You can also create a new host pool in the failover region and go to the replication region and create one host pool and connect all the resources that you need to that new location. And after that, you have to set up, of course, new groups and workspaces in the failover region. Then use the site recovery plan to return to those hosts whenever you are done with your problem. So this is one method to solve this problem or to overcome this outage is by creating what is called another replication or another site for your configuration of host pools. Also, of course, FSLogix configuration, because FSLogix configuration, it is where the container that holds or manages my profiles. What happens if my FSLogix configurations goes to search, let's say, my FSLogix are configured to, this is the container that is holding all my profiles are configured to a location that is called XYZ. Let's say they are configured to go to XYZ location, which is a shared location on Azure, and this location suddenly is not available. So the profiles or the configuration of this profile needs to be updated or edited. Maybe you edit that and whenever you create your environment, you set your FSLogix with the configuration A that point to this location or to this shared location, And you have configuration B that points to another location. This is A and this is B. So whenever this failure happens, directly the FS logics will redirect to the new location or to the new BYZ share location. Where do you do that? You do that inside or within the FS logics so that you won't be losing any time, or the downtime will be to the minimum. As you can see here, we have the FS logics agent that was configured, and we have seen how to configure that. As you can see, this is the first location where my environment or my basic environment or my initial environment or location one. This is the location one, which is in central US, and it is configured to go to this location to get my profiles. Another line here states or points to the location number 2, which is in West US. So within FS logics, I can do that. I can configure multiple profile locations for my profiles. In case if I have a failure, my FS logics configuration is already configured to point to the secondary location instead of the primary location. And this is because my primary location is facing a problem and I cannot initiate or I cannot reach to a problem. So my users or my host pools will be on the second site recovery ready to allow users to log in and continue working without any delay. And whenever my main site is back to work, automatically the users who can log on back without having or without feeling that something bad has happened. So this is what I'm talking about, good planning for disaster or for any problem that you might face. Okay? Then in this model, we have seen the configuration for the virtual machine. I will go to the portal and show you that. Let's go a bit to the portal and have some of the configuration being seen. Let's go to the Azure Virtual Desktop pools. Let's see some configuration. These are my host pools, if you can see them. Okay, we'll talk about the scaling plans later. Let me show you one important thing. Already I didn't create any virtual machines in that, but while I'm creating a virtual machine, I will add virtual machines here, and I will show you during the creation how am I going to set another location. So as you can see here, the availability zones, I have this one, and I will select zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3. And this is one of the ways I replicate or create the availability options for my virtual machines. Okay? Also, I can go to the storage accounts. Let me go to storage account. And create a new storage account. I will select any resource group. Okay, this is the performance, and here is the redundancy. I can use it locally, geo, zone redundant, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the redundancy and connecting to another location. Of course, you will do that during your labs. I hope today you will be successful with opening your labs. I hope so. And even though you still have a lot of time to perform your labs, so don't worry about that. I go back to the slides to summarize, as I told you. Then we are going, we have an environment. This environment includes again and again as a summary, again and again as a summary, I have environment one, I create beside it environment two. So let's keep it the same size. In environment one, I have the host pools that include virtual desktops. Let's have this for virtual desktops, including the application and including everything. This is my environment where my users are logging to. And this is my zone one. Zone one. It also has many storage accounts as an environment storage account, AC1, for profiles. Another storage account for virtual disks, vDisks, I will, okay? So these are the components of my environment, and the users are logging in to use their application, to use their services. What if something happened? What I should do is exactly having the same other environment. Let's draw it. I just need to erase this one. Was this the eraser? Just skip erasing, and I will draw another environment here that is exactly identical to zone one. Okay, here, this is zone two, Z2. It will include the same components. Everything here that will be there. I will draw the same exactly. And this will be the replication of my zone, replica for my zone. So users, whenever they try to log in here and something prevents them, and this is because of a disaster of any downtime or any failure, they are not able to do that, they will be redirected to the replication and they will go and work. And whenever this site is back again, they will reconnect to that main site. This is what I call a good planning or a good disaster recovery plan, which every powerful administrator should plan within the planning of the solution, so that, or of the service, so that whenever a problem happens, the downtime will be to the minimum. What do we need to do? Many of these things we need to reduce or to make things easier, going smooth, working without any delays, giving the best performance or the best experience to our users. We might need to do some things related to cost by maybe not opening or using all the what we call resources on my environment. I need a plan to reduce the cost by implementing a solution that will run the services as needed or when needed. What do I mean by that? I will take you again to the drawings. I will draw a new now I'm talking about a new solution or another solution that I might need. And during my explanation, you will see what I mean and you will know what I mean. Let's say in my environment, I have a lot of users. These users are using my virtual desktops or my virtual images whenever they log in. So starting at the start of the day, I will make it in red color, I have all my users running from time, which I call it the rush time or the peak time, from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m. My users or my clients or the maximum of my virtual desktops because this is the rush time and they need to be using all and every host pools within my environment. They are filling all the pools on the hosts. So if I am let's say 6 pools, they are using all these 6 pools. But comes a time in the afternoon where the user or the number of users will get a bit fewer. So I will need, I will draw it in orange, this is the mid time where maybe my clients will be at, let's say, using around 2/3 of my resources. And this is the time which is between 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. So my resources that were being used at the time from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m. are no more needed, or I don't need that amount of resources because now I am in the mid time of the day and my users, most of my users left to home and they do not need the VMs anymore or that number of virtual machines available or virtual disks available for them. And this goes to the minimum at the time after 8, and they become, let's say, just 1/3 of the users that are needed. And this time is from 10 p.m., let's say, till 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay? So this is the time to where comes the scaling term. This is what I am talking about, the scaling term. The scaling term is, in simple words, extending or shrinking the amount of or the size of the clients or the machines that are serving my users. When I need higher number of machines, I get the scaling to be, I need the scaling to be up. While and the after or in the mid range, I need the scale to be a bit fewer, and then a much at the last time, period of the day or of the time, I needed to go also down. But again, in the next day, I needed to come back again to the highest. This is the scaling. Doing the scalings means that shutting down and deallocating session host VMs during off-peak usage hours while turning them on and making them available at the peak time. This is what is called scaling. This is something I need to be done by my administrators, or should it be done by automating this procedure? Of course, I need to have what is called automation, because automation is something that makes my scaling up or scaling down automated by my administrator who plans for that. He can make what is called the scaling the session host by the automation. You can do that. Who can do that? My administrator or the person who has what is called an Azure automation account. I create an Azure automation account that can work or create what is called workbooks and can work with them to automate everything, scaling up or scaling down or scaling in or scaling out. You know, as an administrator, or maybe you have seen that sometimes you need to scale up or scale down or scale in or scale out. And of course, as an Azure administrator, you should know that the difference between them. And this should be done automatically without any hassle and during and due to the needs. Whenever I need more virtual machine, the scaling will go up. And whenever I don't need additional resources, the scaling goes down. And this is built on metrics and built on uh, uh, results coming from the monitor tools that are monitoring the load on CPUs, the load on sessions, and the load on the performance of that resources. Whenever this resource needs scaling up, it will automatically be scaled up. Whenever it needs to be scaled down, it will be automatically scaled down. What who does that? Who does that is an Azure automation account. This account is that creates another user principal for this process. This account is responsible for creating such scaling or such automations, and it can create or update every resource or every solution or every service used in this scaling technology. It can also create Azure Logic App execution because, as you know, I should give resources. What I mean by resources are the virtual machines. These are the resources. The storage accounts, these are the resources. In addition to that, to these resources, I might need resources for the application. So I need more applications to or logic apps to serve more users. So also creating an Azure Logic App application and executing these things, they are automation methods and can be like and not like, they are the best solutions to give in scaling plans. Okay, let's see here what I mean by I've already explained that to you. It's now 5 or 6, 5:59 a.m. My users are not. This is maybe a different diagram or different scale of my what I said, but here it is 5:59 a.m. The number of users is, let's say here, there are 6 users. At another time, or when the time goes on, the users increase. So this host is filled and this one is filled. Here at the first time stage, it was 6 users using 2 host pools. Now the time goes on, it's maybe 7, and I have additional users coming. Here I have 9 users coming. So I needed, after I filled the first 2 host pools, I have additional host pool open for this user. And at 8 a.m., this host is filled, and the third one is filled. After that, one of the users left at 5 p.m. So this is the time where all or most of my clients are working. This is the peak time, so that all my host pools are filled and all my clients are working. And whenever this peak time is over and they are not as much, I do not have as much users as I had at that time, so the automation or the scale goes down, and after this user leaves, I come back to another 2 host pools instead of 3 host pools. Okay, this is the automation of this, or the scaling in or the scaling out. Let me show you in the portal how do we create an automation account. I will press on create resource. I will press on automation, or I will type automation. And as you can see, this is the automation account. I go ahead and create an automation account. I will, of course, let me create a new resource group for automation. Resource group, automation resource group. I will name the account automation account 1, and I will place it on the same place of my regions where I created my solution. Next, let's see, is it a system assigned or user assigned? I will keep it system assigned. Then we'll go the networking connectivity. Is it for public access? Of course, I will give it the public access. And if I need to create any tags, I won't do that. I will press on review and create and go ahead and create this account. Let's wait a bit for this account to be created. It won't take a long time. Okay, let's wait for it to be done. Here is how to create or update an automation account using the command prompt or the PowerShell. As you have seen, this is the command, new item, and it will be force, of course. I create, this is the command I use. This is the script that will help me to create an automation account. And here is how to execute this script and create a new Azure automation account. Well, this is the script I will need, and this is the account ID. Here is the tenant that it will be placed in. This is also subscription, because I might have different subscriptions. You pay attention to which account or to which subscriptions are you assigning this automation account, because as you know, whenever you create an automation account, you are giving it some roles or some permissions on your subscription. So take into consideration and pay a well attention for which subscription you are giving this role, on which subscription are you giving this role of this automation. So you also need to have the resource group name, and the automation account name is here. This is the automation account. Let me erase that so it will be much clear for you. Okay, as you can see here, this is the automation account name. You display it here. Of course, all these, I will draw as much as I can a thin line around them. Oh, sorry. All these till here that are between quotations should be replaced with the names and the numbers, or the names of the correct, or your current, or your location, or your working. The resource group, you should type the resource group where you want to create the automation account. This is the name of the automation account, and this is the region where you want to deploy the automation account. So these are the necessary configuration for this script to be executed. Okay, these will assign the criteria or the parameters of the account that you need to do. Here they are optional. What is optional? You have, this is optional. It is not a requirement. As you can see here, it can use an automation or automatic resource group if they are already made. It will take these resource groups automatically, okay? If it is not assigned by you, it will take this name, as you see. Whenever you want or you're lost with your account automation and you maybe didn't assign one, this will be the name of the group, and this will be the name of the account. These are assigned by automatic creation. Let me erase that from there so you can read them better. As you can see, we have automatic names. If you do not write your names, or you assign, or you didn't assign your name, these are the default names of the automation account group name and user name. Clear? I guess it's clear. Okay, how to create a run as account. What is the run as account? A run as account, it provides the authentication for the user to log in and chain. With automation account, you can authenticate run books. The run books are the books that run automatically to manage the resources in either the Azure Resource Manager, or you can click, or you can use the classic deployment model. One automation account, in a single account, you can manage all the resources that are created across all the regions and subscriptions for this tenant. So within one account, which is a run as account, this run as account cannot just manage this area or that subscription or that region. No, it can run as around all the regions and around all the subscription that you have, and can make these run books to run all over them. When you create the automation account in Azure portal, it is automatically created with it can create it is already created with some properties or some abilities. It can create a service principal in the Azure Active Directory, and it automatically creates a certificate. You can use this certificate and apply it to your services you are going to work with, and it's also assigned the contributor role to manage the resources by using the run books. So I use In simple words, I use the run book, the run as account to run, to create run books, or to run the run books, because this account is automatically assigned the contributor role for these run books, and it can be used all around my all regions and all my subscriptions. Here, if you can, as you can see, this is the display name. Here, this is the certification. Okay, this is the thumbprint of the certification. You can copy and paste it for your on your scripts. Sometimes you might need that to use it in some scripts to apply automation. Of course, this is the reason why I use automation, because it can run automatically. I can take this thumbprint to use it. This is the application ID where I'm applying to. This is the thumbprint, and this is the tenant ID. These are required parameters you should use whenever you are creating a runbook. There are some parameters you should use, and here are some example of these parameters. So here is what I'm talking about, what I mentioned before now, which is the Azure Logic App and execution schedule. The logic app, you can reduce your total overtime, or the deployment time is what I mean by total time, caused by scaling your virtual machines. This means shutting down and deallocating session host machines during the off-peak hours, then turning them on back again whenever you need to use them during the peak hours. So the automation, the scaling tool or the automation tools is the tool that you need to use for that, to make these changes to the execution schedules. As you can see here, let's take a look here. What we can do, as you can see here, we have the time, the interval time, and the frequency time. This is wherever you need to add, delete, not add or delete, to scale up or scale down applications and virtual machine. This is the control, or this is the schedule you will be following to do the scaling parameters or the scaling configuration for your applications, for your virtual machines, and take no further time during the creation of these scaling or creation of logic apps and execution schedules. So as you can see, you can create an automation account. This is the progression, or this is the method. You can create an Azure Automation Run As account and create the logic app and execution schedule. Let's go to the portal and see what happened with our resource or our automation account. This is the automation account is now ready. Let's go there. Okay, let's go and search here. Here is the activity log. Here, if you need to assign any roles, here, if I see my access, let me see my access. This will give you the access level you have. This will show you the access level you have. This service administrator, what I call this is the account I created, or my account is I am a service administrator. If I need, what am I to see? What am I eligible for? What are my? I have. Let me see. I didn't give the allegation or delegation for myself for anything. If I need to add role assignment or add a co-administrator, I can do that from here. Let me add and I can here download the role as my assignment as CSV or a JSON. Maybe I need to use them somewhere else, or I will add a role assignment. What I'm doing here is for this account. You know, I explained that already. Whenever I log in to have assignments, I have assignments or role assignments for each service alone. I have role assignments for the subscription. I have role assignments. So because these role assignments are in a hierarchy, and they can be applied to different levels on the hierarchy. This is the member. This is the members. I will select a member. I have lots of members. I can assign this to all the administrators, or to only one of the administrators, or to any one of the users. As you can see, I can add them. I will select the admin and will give him this availability or this ability. The role is, since we are talking about automation, let's just keep the automation on our side. The automation contributor can manage Azure automation resources and other resources. So remember, whenever you are assigning the automation role for any of the users or the administrator, remember that to assign him the most suitable role for his duties. Do not give more or do not give less. If he is responsible for automating run books or is the operator, you just give them the availability, give him or her, of course, this role, this assignment. As you can see here, lots of automation related roles like automation contributor, automation job operator. The contributor can create, can delete, while the automation operator can run. If you need to see details between or the difference between them, you go to the view and you can see the actions. As you can see here, these are all the actions explained. But in general, we know that the contributor is like the highest level of roles I can give. We have operator, we have automation operator, we have runbook operator. So I'm now specifying just not an overall automation operator, is just an operator for the runbooks, or he's just an operator for the job operatings, for the jobs. So this is the differentiation. This is a line, a thin line between the assignments you can give for the users. So or for the administrator, or for the person you are going to give this role to. Then I will review and assign and see here it is being done. I will go, as you can see here, we have the configuration management. He can log to analytic workspace locations. This is the log analytics workspace. I don't have one. The log analytics will show you the logs coming from some places. I don't have any yet created. Then I will, within that it has a new, an automation account. Let's enable it and see the results after. If you need to I will just need to take you to the one I'm talking about, which is something so important, which is the run as account. The run as account, okay. A clear notification stating that Azure Run account will retire on September 30 We still have time to use them, and will be replaced with the managed identities. Okay, before that, you need to start migrating your runbooks. We don't have anything, but just take into consideration that run as accounts will retire in September. So till now, or till then, we still are responsible for them and we will be using them. And of course, they are a topic in our exam, so we should understand them. So here is the creation of the run as account. Here are the permissions required to configure run as account. Let's see. There are some additional readings you should read before creating the run as account, because it is important to know the scope of this account, not just give it everything without knowing the scope. I will see also permissions required to configure a classic run as account. So we have two types of run as account: a normal run as account, and a class. I limit run as account permissions. How do I extend run as account permissions, and how to resolve incomplete? Well, we'll leave this to, or renew self-signed certificate, because as you know, for the run as account, there is a certificate and it works for a period of time. So sometimes you will need to renew this certificate. Okay? If I need to create a run as account, the run as account feature will create a new service principal user in the Active Directory, and the classic run account feature creates and uploads the management certificate, which will be used to manage Azure Service Management or classic resources. I will go with this one and see what it will do. Okay, we already understood that, and we'll press on create. It is being created. Let's see what's okay. As you can see, automation ICC1. When it's done, I should be able to see this somewhere. While it is being generated, let me continue with monitoring. As you can see here, you can see some monitoring. These are the alerts. These are the metrics, of course, and related to these metrics, I can build in some decisions. Some decisions are built on these. Okay, let's go to tasks of the automation. Add a task. I can select a template. These are one of the post resources, blah, blah, blah. I have this one only. You need some prerequisites for that. Going through the whole thing, because it is very important for you to understand the automation account. What happened creating an error occurred? The Azure account value cannot be null. What was null? Let's see what was null in that. Yes, I come back to the runbooks after a second. Just let me check what was wrong here. It is created, already created. Why did it give this error? Let's press here. This is what we saw earlier in the slides. As you can see, this is the thumbprint. You can copy it and use it whenever you need when creating a runbook, of course. These are the connection strings that you might need. And this is the principal object ID. Also, in some types of scripts, you might need that. So it is now ready and it's here available for you. So, guys, maybe sometimes you might need to have additional reading. Of course, that will be fine or be good with you. And maybe during the labs, you will do things related. And tomorrow, during the exam prep, that will be, I promise that it will be very interesting. So do not skip it, please, because tomorrow we are going to review everything we have passed through the whole week, and we'll be doing many demos and many examples. So please be ready and prepared, because tomorrow is a very fruitful day, I'm sure of that. Then let me see this account that I created. I will go and check this account. I guess it should be populated. Let's get back after a bit here. After a bit, we'll get back here. Okay? This is, sorry. To you tomorrow that you might need on how to create, how to understand everything related to everything explained. Tomorrow you will be getting a lot of resources, so be ready for that. Okay? Okay, I will go to creating the Azure Logic app in seconds as an example. Don't worry about that. So now, after we have finished this model also, now we are able to describe what is the scaling session or the scaling session host, or how to scale session host using the automation, the Azure automation, how to create an automation account, how to create an Azure automated run as account, and we'll go now to see how to create an Azure Logic app. Let's go to the portal. Hope that our account is ready. Let's see our automation account. Is it ready? I guess it was ready, but let me double check that. Yes, this is the run as account. It is now ready. Okay. Now we'll go to Logic Apps. I have no Logic Apps. I will then create a new Logic app. This is what you created. Just give it a bit of time. Okay, you can use it, and you will see how to use that later on the labs, because you need some details you'll be doing through the labs. Okay, so now how to monitor and manage performance and health. Let me talk a bit about that, because for me, monitoring the performance is as important as having a good plan. Why is that? You know, guys, monitoring is always important to what? To avoid any unexpected or expected problems. Let's go with this. Monitor, monitor, monitor. I say it a lot because, as you know, whenever you're monitoring anything, let's say you are monitoring your car. What do you mean by monitoring your car? By waking every day in the morning and checking the water level and checking the oil level for the engine and for the vitesse and for every part that needs monitoring, or what we call daily check, or daily maintenance, or timely maintenance. This is what I am, that makes me able to predict if something is going to be wrong. Like that, whenever you're monitoring the water level every day and you see that your car is missing, let's say, a little bit of water, this means there is something wrong. What if it loses more water than the alert? Then your monitoring will make you have an alert or an internal alert that there is really something. But when you wake up someday and you're going to check your or perform your daily monitoring by checking your car's water or your car's uh, oil level, because you do that every day and you find it surprisingly missed or missing all the water, or maybe the level of oil is almost zero. So automatically you won't be going to turn on your car before resolving this problem. This is what I'm talking about or saying about monitoring, because monitoring, daily monitoring for your car, will prevent a problem or prevent unexpected problems. What if you are someone lazy? Sorry to say that, I don't mean anyone in particular, but I'm talking about myself. I myself was lazy to check my car's oil level, and one day it was so hot and I was coming from the beach when I heard a big crank in my engine. That's what made me stop to the side of the road and check that my engine is totally cracked. That's why, because I didn't monitor my oil level, not for one day, not for 1 week, but for more than 1 month. I had a leak of oil in my engine, but I didn't take that into consideration and got my car engine spoiled. That's why I'm telling you, in any environment, if you're working in your home environment or with your family, you should monitor your family, your sons, your daughters, of course, gentle monitoring, because you are, I'm not going to give now lessons, but let's skip to monitoring your home appliances like the water, like the fridge, like anything you might have. You should always monitor them to check that they are plugged well, working well, not leaking from any side, so that you prevent any future problems. I talked a lot about monitoring because I do believe that a great monitoring plan or the best monitoring plan gives you the best avoidance of failing into troubles. So, with many tools, whenever you're monitoring your overall environment, let's go now to the monitoring to our production environment, which produces our company's money, which I'm a member in, and I am the administrator. Pay attention, because you are an IT administrator who's responsible, as who is a key factor in the performance of your IT environment. So it is highly your responsibility to be always on alert, to be always monitoring this environment. You can't let your environment fall down without being alerted to that. This is not allowed, because your management will not accept any excuse when you say, I didn't do this or didn't do that because I didn't remember or I didn't apply the correct monitoring tools. That's why Azure, Microsoft takes a very large responsibility on our behalf by using ready-made and automatically running monitoring tools that whenever I create any resource, this resource would be monitored. I say almost all the resources. Some resources like the virtual desktop or the virtual machine needs an additional extensions or additional agents so that the monitoring will be monitoring these resources. So I have the Azure Monitor Virtual Desktop. Monitor the Azure Virtual Desktop by using the Azure Monitor. This is a very important tool that I will go through very well. Azure Monitor is so important. We have log analytics workspace for the Azure Monitor. I'm connecting this log analytic workspace for Azure Monitor. What do they do? How do I use them? Then we have log analytics. The monitor shows results by logs, by metrics. I use the logs to do something. I do use the metrics to something or things. Okay? Whenever I have a monitor, I will show you an internal monitor on my computer that is really important. I will show you that as an example. I will and show you this is a great tool which is performance monitor. You know, I am just always too excited when talking about monitoring. As you can see here, this is the monitoring tools that are local on my computer. Okay, let's see. We have the performance monitor. As you can see here, we have the performance monitor automatically running and monitoring my let me see how to I can okay. I will add something here. You can see here what is being monitored. It's the processor time. I hope you can see that. Okay, this is the processor time. I need to monitor another thing. Here I am doing that manually, doing that or adding that manually. Of course, we have an automatic here in the task management. I'm showing you all that, as I told you, because I like always to monitor my processor. If you can see here, if I have a high processing, what's going on? Maybe because I'm running too many things. But if I am not running anything and I have a high CPU or high memory or a high disk usage, it means that I should be alerted there is something wrong. This is what I'm talking about. This, if you don't find your monitoring or the required monitoring you might need, you can go and pick a lot of monitoring tools that are on the computer. So this is the importance of monitoring. You have performance tool, I can add, as I told you, whatever I need. One important service, which is monitor, I will type monitor, and here comes the monitor. Here is my monitor. I have lots of things going on. Okay, let's see the monitor. I have overview. It gives me the insights. It shows me the insights. I will press on view. I don't have any applications. I don't know if I have any hardware. Let's see virtual machines. I will see. Okay, this is the monitor. As you can see, I have monitoring tools or monitoring for my or my all virtual machine or my virtual machines. Let's see. Let me go to another place. I will go to the Azure Virtual Machines. Here. It is replicated. Why is that anyway? You can see that. You can see the monitoring tools from different places. As you can see, you have here monitoring. I will press on enable. And if I need to have an alert, if my percentage is greater than 80%, maybe it suits me to be at 70, 60, whatever, it will start alerting me. Okay, but if, of course, do not forget that if I'm monitoring a specific virtual machine, it will cost me, I have a cost. I will not allow that, okay? I'm just showing you how important and how deep we go with monitoring. I will go back to the monitor because there are many things that are going to be discussed also from the monitor. Okay, again, back to the monitor. We have the activity logs. As I told you, the logs are indicators I can read from, which means why do I read logs? I explain that. The log says when I'm logging the activity of someone, I am logging the activity of David, and I'm writing what David does every day. David wakes up at 8. This is a daily log. David goes to work at 8:30. David starts his computer at 9. And this is a habitual action or a daily action that he's been doing for 10 years. Let's say that. I'm just giving an example. One day the logic was the log about David was saying that David woke up at 9:30. This started on a Monday. David at 10:30. David started his computer at 11. If this log was for me something that was, let's say, not suspicious, it's not a daily habitual action he does. But this log will be, I will put a point beside this log because if David repeats this again and again and again and again, it means that David is moving from one stage or from one habit or from being an organized employee to another category to unorganized or unresponsible, blah, blah, blah. I'm just giving such an example. That's why we read the logs of any service. The service should start, the service should not stop. Like reading the logs here. All the logs are in blue and everything is good. The status is accepted or started. I can log or walk through all of them and everything seems fine. But here comes, I have a red with a failed log. This log needs to be red because maybe I just created a role assignment. I didn't make sure that it was running. I continued to the next step, but oops, while I'm doing the next step, I face a problem. Why did that happen? I just review a message stating that you should have been assigned an administrator role, and then I go, but I didn't do that. So I should get back to the step before that and redo again. Then this helped me in defining the error. If I'm always having an eye on my monitor or on my logs, so I don't face a surprise. I don't get surprised because I am logs. you can also, in addition to having an eye, you can have an automatic eye or some eye monitoring those logs and sending you alerts. Okay, this is something so important. So here are the alerts that I'm talking about. The alerts will be running and it will be sent to you. I have to create an alert rule. Let's see. This is the alert rule I can create for any of my resources. I can just choose the subscription. This is the MSDN. Okay. What is the condition I need to? I have lots of conditions. What are the signal types? What is the signal name you need to create an alert for? If you need to monitor all the administrative actions, okay, you can see that. I love monitoring tools, by the way. I love, because I feel as an administrator, I should have all the monitoring tools in the world. So that's why I installed maybe hundreds of tools to my desktop to monitor everything, because really they make me always like the soldiers who are on the borders watching any suspicious activities. So I am not surprised. I'm using all my telescopes and microscopes and everything to watch my borders from any attack or from any internal, because you might have an internal attack or an external attack. So the monitoring tools and the alerts are so interesting for you and for me, and they give you a great peaceful feeling that you are protected. Okay? These are the conditions, as I said. What is the level? So be alerted whenever you have information or warning or an error or something critical. I would like to have from warning level or above. I would not like to have the failed only, and I'm sorry, AA admin it was, AA admin. I'm unable to remember the name. I will go to the, after that, I have the actions I should perform. What action should you do? You have to create an action group and do that. This is what I'm talking about, monitoring and action. This is again the monitor. And here we reach the metrics. The metrics are like the log files. The metrics are numerical values coming. I can build my alerts on. So metrics are numbers like CPU usage, like memory usage, like hard disk capacity. I state them by metrics. Let's see what I'm talking about. I will set here for a resource group. Let's say the resource group of the desks. I don't have desks, the virtual machines, and they are located in East US. And I will press on apply. And metrics will start to be controlling what I will control the CPU. As you can see here, I can monitor and give them and have the metrics of the CPU credits, of the CPU credits remaining, of the IOPS, of the disks, blah, blah, blah. You check, you choose anyone that you want. And as you can see, it will start stating or running these metrics, and you can do a lot of them. Okay? Logs, these are messages, we have seen that. I will go directly to service health. Service health is something so interesting. It shows or gives you the health of the device you're looking for. We'll go to monitor again and see the workbooks. The workbooks is something very interesting because they are like an automation based on the metrics that run to do something. Like if the CPU goes or the CPU usage goes in a virtual machine or in a virtual host on a disk or many ifs, we can see if the storage reaches to 80%, please send a message to the current user or to all the users, alerting them that your storage is almost full, so they will take an action, or for you to take an action to extend or to add an additional storage accounts to redirect them there. Okay? We have in the monitor, we have the insights for the applications, for the virtual machines, for the storage accounts. I will show you. Okay, we have, these are the insights for the storage devices. Again, why am I emphasizing on that? Because for me, monitoring is, after all, the thing that will make my life easier and will make me alerted of any problems I might face. Okay? Okay? I hope you got the idea. As you can see, the containers, if I have containers, you will be monitoring these. The containers include my applications, include my Kubernetes, include everything I might be using as a service for my clients. If I have an application that serves hundreds and thousands or maybe millions of people, you should of course have it monitor. Of course, it can monitor clusters also. It can monitor to any size, and of course, these monitoring tools or the monitor, we have some free versions of the monitors. We have some paid versions. So, this will help you a lot. As you can see, I am here monitoring or seeing the insights of my network. So as I told you, you can monitor everything. If you have an SQL database, you have Cosmos, you have Key Vaults. So all your environment is being monitored, as you can see here. Okay? Fine. Let's go now to the presentation again and see monitor Azure Virtual Desktop. What's very important is to monitor the Azure Virtual Desktops, because your Azure Virtual Desktops include your virtual servers, include your virtual host pools, that include the host pools, that include the applications all your users are running. That's why you should always monitor them. Okay, we have some Azure Advisor recommendation. What do we mean by advisor recommendation? Again and again to the portal, and here I go to advisor. Who is Mr. Advisor? Imagine yourself with an advisor other than your wife telling you what to do or what not to do. This advisor is your partner at work or an employee with you who tells you to do this and not to do that. Every important or any person who is in a position that an advisor and start paying him money to do that. Here in Azure, the advisor is almost free. This advisor can give us advices in all the strategies that we need regarding the capacities, regarding security, regarding reliability. Then he is a financial and a performance and operational advisor. Here is the advices we have from him. Whenever you do follow the advisor's advices, you can reach the optimum environment. As you can see here, we have the overview here. As you can see, regarding the cost, you are following all of our cost recommendation. Then I guess this is one of the most important. The cost is something that really is a very important factor. Cost is a very important factor, or maybe it is the most important factor. So you should take into consideration the optimum cost or the optimum or the best management or the best plan to get the best on your expenses. So here I don't have any recommendation. Let me press here to see some recommendations on some general recommendation. Okay, I have here no recommendations, but I just uh, said a recommendation or a couple of recommendations maybe yesterday or the day before. One of the most important recommendation regarding the cost, whenever you are not using a resource deallocated, whenever you need it reallocated, if you don't need it, delete it. Okay? Do not allocate or keep resources that you are not using. Do not keep it for any reason unless you feel that you might use it later. If not, just delete it. Here are the security. I will go to security and show you things later after I finish here. Okay, here you are following all our security recommendations. I'm good. Reliability, I have one recommendation. This recommendation color is orange. It means that it is a medium impact. If it was high impact, it would have been red instead of orange. So I have here a medium impact. If I need to know more, I press here. Okay, what they are saying is that the impact is medium. They are advising me to use NAT gateway for outbound connectivity. So this is the advice they want me to do. Okay, if it was, let me press on there, and as you can see, they took me directly to where I should solve or resolve this. Of course, I'm not going to do that. I would need to think about it before I do it. I'm just showing you the recommendation. And if there are more recommendations, it will show you them there. The resources that are impacted to virtual network. The last update was at this day before a bit of time. So if you can see here, this is the description. I can press on it, and this is the impacted resources. If I press here, it will take me back to see that I have these recommendations. These recommendations will be set been explained here. Add a NAT gateway to your subnet to go outbound. Learn how to do that. You have the steps here, and you can postpone. I want to tell it to postpone this, and it won't be shown again on my advisor. Okay. I will go just, there's nothing here else. I will show my advisor score. This is an important score I should always keep an eye on. I have here one recommendation. It is the same. So because I do not have too much resources on this test tenant, so I do not have a lot of resources to be monitored or to be viewed and discussed around. So I have a little bit of configuration here, but when we are done or through our labs, we have lots of users, we have lots of virtual machines, so we will be expecting to see more insights from many different resources. And then we'll be talking about the how to diagnose graphic performance issues. As you know, graphic performance issues is something so important that we need to see, which whenever I'm facing the flickering, when I'm having an incoming and outgoing screens, these are all graphic performance issues I need to resolve to give my user the best working experience. Okay, to give my user the best working experience. I want my users to feel that they are using their own laptops. They are using a desktop that is with them. That's what I'm saying about a good Windows or a good, working experience. As you have seen, we have monitoring with Azure Monitor. We have seen that. We go to the portal and go to Monitor and select Insights, and we can see from the Hub Insight of the Insights Hub, we have all things that we need. We go to Azure Virtual Desktop if it is implemented. Let me see if I have it on my we'll go to Monitor. And go to virtual desktops. Let me see if it is not. I don't have any of these. I just have a virtual machine, so I can't monitor my virtual desktop. But of course, you can do that on your labs, okay? But the steps you should follow is go to Monitor, Insights, and see the Virtual Desktop Insights. It will show you the insights regarding the host pools, the virtual machines, and everything related to that. So this monitor will show you these insights. Once you have the page open, enter the description, resource group, host pool, and time range for your environment. This will show you a time range that you need to monitor to see the performance, how it was, and this is used to plan for future upgrades, for degrades. Maybe you are giving too much resources for some specific users or host pools. You need to scale them down, or you can plan to scale automatically. The log analytics, as you can see, the log analytics workspace for Azure Monitor. You can see the logs as text, or you can see them and use these logs to create or do things. So as you know, we have checkbox, we have error, we have management, we have connection, we have host registration, and we have agent health status. These are what is important to us is to monitor these, to keep an eye on these, because these are key factor sections that I need to take care or to work care when I am creating or configuring a workbook. You know, the workbook is an automated action built on specific alerts, metrics, or based on this, so it will take action. In simple words or in typing words, if metrics, if monitoring, if logs are equal, greater than, or less than, you can use any of these. So do run a workbook to upgrade, raise the number, decrease the number of blah, blah, blah. So this is the number book. It is an automation book or running book that will run and do some actions built on our monitoring or on our logs to give us the solution or the best performance. We'll go. We talked about it, of course, the Azure Monitor. The Azure Monitor can give us advice using the advisor. This is the advisor that is giving us advices based on cost, based on security, based on reliability, on the operational excellence, and on the performance. These insights are so important. This environment and the sample is perfect due to the cost-wise. It is also good or perfect on reliability. It's following all these and has no problem, but it has some security problems, and they are classified into 3 levels. We have 5 high impact recommendations. You can press there and you will see them all classified into 3 levels: the high impact level, the medium impact level, and the low impact level. And whenever you press on there, it will take you to the resolutions or to the resolving page, and you can resolve these. Okay? So, sorry. So, whenever you go to the monitor and see these, you can go to the resolution or to the solving area and solve these problems. How to resolve the advisor recommendation? You can follow the steps. We have seen that. Recommendations are displayed here and explained, and the solution will be stated, and it will give you the potential benefits of resolving these or these errors. As I told you, here they are classified into high, medium, and low. So we have 3 levels of impacts: the high, the medium, and the low. And these are delivered to us easily from the advisors. Thanks, Microsoft, for this great advisor. He is advising us, or she is advising us on all the levels that we need. And it's not just giving us or saying that we have a problem. No, it's just stating we have a problem and we can follow the following solution. So thanks again, Mr. Advisor or Mrs. Advisor, for this great work. So I have these problems and I have the solutions required. I can perform these solutions manually, or it can be done automatically by pressing on a button, and if it is feasible, it will do this resolution automatically. Regarding what I said, the best experience to give to the user, of course, all of you or some of you played games, computer games. Something very important is the frame rate, how it refreshes per second, how fast or how fast does it have the refreshing rate, which will the higher the refreshing rate, the best experience I will get. So the higher refresh rate will require something which is higher network speed. So it will require, let's say if I have 10 users requiring higher performance, so I will need higher performance for the refresh rate. It will imply me requiring higher response or higher capacity network speed. So this is a chain related to each other. These rings in this chain are related to each other. The performance of the high or low frame rate, the stalls, the high latency, or the poor frame quality, all these are related to each other. I need to have high performance or high resolution, so it implies that I need to have a faster network or internet speed. This is a fact. So in order to get that, you get the best performance, you get a higher speed. So whenever the graphic related performance issues fall into four categories. The first category is the low frame rate. It might be because of if we're talking on physical computers, it might be because of the VGA processor or the video processor, or in the virtual network, maybe you have chosen the wrong family of the stations that you should have used, or maybe because it is coming from the internet. What we have stalls, have random stalls, it's also because of the same reasons. High input latency when I'm pressing on my keyboard and the input is taking time, it might be also because of the network speed or the internet speed. So all of these are related to this. Mainly, all of them are related to the internet from my side or from the server side. Of course, if I'm hosting on Azure, it's sure the problem is not from their side, because their side is built on high uh, speed network or very high speed network, following the best procedures, following the best recommendations. So in almost most of the time, the problem is with my internet connection, so that I am not reaching well. An additional reason that could be a reason for that is that I have chosen do my solution in a wrong or not in the best location, because I didn't do what we studied in the first day in the modules, what was called the response time between environment and the location of where I am going to install or host that. So you always need to check the best time, response time, and we have seen that there is a special surface for that can reduce that. So if I am picking a far location and I have a substitute which is closer to me and give me better performance, so I should have done that. So we have also three types of frame skipped second counters. The frames skipped second, insufficient server resources. This is one reason. We have frames skipped or per second, insufficient network resources or insufficient client resources. These three are main reasons for skipped frames. Okay, if I have frames being dropped, I have one of three reasons or three types that are insufficient. There are insufficient server resources, there are insufficient network resources, or insufficient client resources. Maybe the server is holding much or more than its abilities, like it can hold up to 100 users and there are 120 users logging to this server, or maybe 200 users, so it is working or it is overloaded, so of course it will start skipping or dropping things. Another thing is the network resources. I need, let's say I need 100 megabits, but I am forcing or requesting 150 or 200. And also, if I have a client that has non-sufficient resources like insufficient memory or insufficient swapping place on his storage, on his or her hard disk, so this will guide us or will take us to dropping frames to non-clear or not perfect customer experience. Okay, all these are so important. You should take good care of that. Make sure that you have the required resources, the needed resources to have your user experience very well. Okay, then we have reached till the end of our last slide. This is the end of our course. Tomorrow we will be reviewing everything with exam prep. We will have a quick review or overview of with all we studied. So please, as I told you at the beginning, please be prepared tomorrow to get a lot of information. I will, myself and Mr. Bilal will be dropping lots of resources for you. So do not worry about anything. I wish that you had an exciting 4 days experience with this virtual desktop service, and I hope that you had the most and it was fruitful for you. I will be with you tomorrow, of course. I will review with you the last slide regarding this module. We have been describing how to monitor, as I told you, and I talked a lot, and I said a lot about the monitoring. I said a lot about the logging. I said a lot about how to monitor the virtual desktops, because again and again, I do believe that monitoring tools are so important. Monitoring is very highly requested to have the best environment or to have the best protection. If you have any attack, well, it differs of whether if you are alerted or not on fighting the attack. If you are protected, if you are expecting the attack, if you are having your updates, if you are updating your operating systems, if you are updating your servers, if you are updating your applications regarding the software updates, the fixes, the security updates, so you will be in a safe environment or a safer environment or an environment that is not easily attacked or easily drawn down. Today we had 3 modules. The modules were about replication, how to have duplication for your environment, how to have duplication for your virtual desktops, how to have duplication for your storage devices, how to configure the FS logics to go from one location to another. We also talked about the monitoring. We talked about lots of things. I wish you had the best experience for today, and I wish we see you tomorrow. And I hope you a very fruitful day today. The rest for the rest of the day, I will be with you, me and Mr. Bilal, after at 30 minutes when the labs start. If you have anything related to the labs, please, we'll see you on the lab session after around 30 minutes from now when I finish my presentation. Yesterday, we told you how to figure or to walk through the resolution for your labs issues. And I hope today you will be having this resolved and you will finish all your labs during the coming few days. So good luck, and I will see you after 30 minutes in the Q&A. Thank you very much.